low to moderate income households, the program for business assistance in order to help businesses retain employees. 51% of the jobs retained must be for persons in low to moderate income households. If we were to apply for the meal program, that would provide funds to meal programs located in census tracts with at least 51% low to moderate income individuals. Both Saline County and the City of Salina are applying for these funds. If both entities are awarded funding, the county will only be able to spend its funds outside the Salina city limits. Therefore, we are recommending only applying for the Economic Development Program. The meal programs are all within Salina. So I would ask the chair at this time to open a public hearing, receive public comment, and then after the close of the public hearing, staff recommends that you adopt the resolution included in your packet and authorize the chair to sign the documents necessary to apply for the funding, including grant administration through the North Central Kansas Planning Commission. I'd be happy to answer any questions prior to opening the public hearing.
Do I need to declare then that we're open for public comment? And I do declare that we're open for public comment for the public hearing on Community Development Block Grant application for coronavirus response funds. Is there anyone who wishes to speak? No one from the outside?
No one on the telephone has indicated a desire to speak.
Excuse me, we may have one then from the outside.
Morning, Commissioner.
Morning.
Morning. Hope you are doing well. My name is Eric Brown. I am the President and CEO of the Salina Area Chamber of Commerce. Regarding this, I just wanted to come in and publicly comment that we are in favor of this. We think this would be a good thing if the county could apply for this. A couple of numbers I received from the K-State Research and Extension Central District. There's approximately 600 farm operations in Saline County. Farm operations are eligible for these funds. Also, other ag-related businesses, there's somewhere between 25 to 30 that are based on agriculture being their core revenue, and then a few add on top of that other companies that may be in, whether it's fuel mechanics, convenience stores, restaurants inside the county. There's probably about that same number, if not more. So flour mills, et cetera. So there is a need for this as well. So I just wanted to show my support. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eric. We appreciate that support, and I would assume that we will be applying for it. And we'll find that out here in a moment. Phil, I had a question. Let's see. It was regarding the meals. And if we don't apply for that, are you giving me a sign there?
Is the public hearing closed for discussion?
Excuse me. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak with the public forum? No again from the outside.
And no one on the phone at this time.
Okay, no one is on the phone. So we will close the public portion of this, bring it back to the commission for discussion and possible action. My question is that if we are not applying for the food, how did you say it, the food grant or the meal portions programs of this?
Yeah.
Do we have any assurance from the city that they would help fund Meals on Wheels? Or would that, we would hope they would, and that's as far as it gets at this time?
Meals on Wheels is one of the eligible programs, and there is a maximum that each program can receive, so I think we would stand a pretty good chance of that being included. But there's, of course, no assurance. Folks have to apply and meet the qualifications. And
it's my understanding that Meals on Wheels has relaxed the requirements a little bit and adjusted them to where more people are eligible to get those meals at this time, is what I've been told also. So that is a good deal. Okay, other commissioners, comments or questions? Or
a quick clarification. even if Saline County did apply for the meals grant and were awarded some funds, they couldn't spend those on Meals on Wheels because that's inside the city, if the city also, okay.
That's correct.
Any other comments? I would, do we need a motion then to approve this?
Mr. Chairman, I move we adopt Resolution 20-2294 and authorize the chairman to sign documents as necessary to complete the application.
Second the motion.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve RFA 169-20, Resolution 20-2294, Community Development Block Grant Application. All of those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion does carry. We will move to item number 2, which is Resolution 20-2294, Disaster Declaration with Michelle Barkley, Emergency Management Director.
Mr.
Good morning,
Chair.
Michelle.
Mr. Chair, sorry. I just noticed that there are actually 2 resolutions 20-2294. The one that was for the Community Development Block Grant is actually 20-2295, and Michelle's is 20-2294. So I just wanted to clarify that on the record.
Okay, do we need to do anything different, Jamie, then? Or is that acknowledgement enough that that number needs to be changed, even though our documents say differently?
I would maybe amend your resolution or amend your motion just to have that in the
Clarify
minutes.
that,
To be
yeah.
2295.
2295, yes.
And I will amend that to change it from 20-2294 to 20-2295.
Second the motion.
Been moved and seconded that we approve RFA 169-20, Resolution 20-2295, Community Development Block Grant Application. All of those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion does carry. We will
Thank
now
you.
go back to Michelle with the item number 2, resolution, with the real resolution 20-2294.
Good morning, Commission.
Morning.
I am
Morning.
here to ask for the adoption of the local public health disaster declaration for another 60-day period, stating that the Saline County Board of Commissioners sees that COVID-19 pandemic have or will imminently threaten widespread or severe damage, injury, or loss of life or property to Saline County, Kansas. 3 major benefits of declaring, again, another local disaster declaration for another 60 days is receiving mutual aid resources from the state EOC, as well as covering for tort liability.
Are there any questions from commissioners? Just a mere formality, I take it, so. Is there any? Well, I'm not going to ask for public comment on this one. I need a motion from a commissioner.
Mr. Chairman, I move we adopt Resolution 20-2294 as presented.
Second the motion.
Been moved and seconded that we approve Resolution 20-2294 Disaster Declaration. Further comments? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Michelle. We will move to item number 3. RFA 167-20, Aladdin Contract Amendment 2020 with Rosie Walter, Senior Services Director. Good morning, Rosie.
Good morning. So we already have a contract with Aladdin, so I'm just requesting the commission approval to extend it another year with an addition to the maintenance fee of $1,139.84. It would start July 1, 2020. And this has been brought before the county councilor and approved for your approval.
And can you give us a little bit of background briefly about what this amendment and partnership agreement entails?
Sure. I'm sorry. Aladdin is our contract food company that comes in and they do all the cooking for us in our kitchen. We have signed a contract with them in 2018, so this is just, they didn't have an increase in 2019. They're asking for an increase now, just in the management fee. The rest of the costs are direct costs, so food is what they are charged. They in turn bill us, and then labor. So the management fee is the only thing they're asking for an increase of right now.
I'm curious as to why there needs to be a management fee. Why wouldn't they just include that in their total cost of the agreement? So,
You know, it's just what I would say, what they make off of this contract. This is the only thing that they do make off of serving it.
Because otherwise, they just pass along the food cost.
Right, exactly what the food cost is.
any
Or the
further
labor
comments from
costs.
Commissioners?
Have you noticed that the food costs have gone up?
They are, especially meat right now.
Right.
Hamburger,
It's hard to get.
yes.
Right.
A quick question, a little education clarification, Rosie. When we signed our contract with Aladdin, wasn't it a 3-year contract?
It was when we would go back and do a management fee every single year. That was actually written into the contract, but they didn't request that. So this is the first time they've came back and asked for it, the management fee increase.
That wasn't part of the 3-year contract?
It was that they would increase it every year, but they didn't.
Okay, they didn't, but now they are.
But now they are, yes.
All right.
So really, the only increase we're receiving is the $1,139.84.
Yes,
And that is just a portion of.
the management
Okay.
fee.
Further comments or questions from Commissioners? Is there any public comment?
No one on the phone bridge has raised their hand.
Okay, no one from the public wishes to speak. At this time, I would take a motion from a Commissioner, please.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve by signature the 2020 amendment of the Food Service Partnership Agreement with Aladdin.
Second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve RFA 167-20, Aladdin Contract Amendment 2020. All of those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion carries 5-0. We'll move to item number 4, RFA 168-20, COVID-19 grants from Rosie Walter, Senior Services Director. Good morning again, Rosie.
Good morning. Senior Services, we're requesting approval to accept 2 grants for the COVID-19, $5,000 from the Greater Salina Community Foundation, $5,000 for supplies and benefit seniors. With that, we're requesting that we buy dry food commodities that we would deliver to Meals on Wheels recipients. We did receive $2,000 from Kroger in the form of gift cards and another $1,000 from a private donor for a total of $8,000. And then we are requesting the Greater Salina Community Foundation approval to receive those dollars as well. So United Way, $5,000, Greater Salina Community Foundation, $5,000. The Greater Salina Community Foundation will fund masks and gloves and personal protective equipment. The United Way funds all the Meals on Wheels extra dry commodities.
Okay, I'll stand by my standard reaction. I don't want to turn down free money. So, are there any other comments from Commissioners? Are there any public comments? None from outside?
No one on the conference bridge has indicated a desire to speak.
All right, and there are no others wishing to speak. I will take a motion, please.
Mr. Chairman, I move we accept the United Way and Greater Salina Community Foundation grants as submitted by staff for senior services programs.
And I will second it.
Been moved and seconded that we approve RFA 168-20 COVID-19 grants. All of those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion does carry. That brings us to the end of today's action items. We will move into informational items, and the first item up is the Department of Senior Services update with Rosie Walter, the Director. Good morning, Rosie.
Good morning. Okay, so my monthly or my quarterly reports from January to March. I'm going to talk about the remodeling project. We are on right now week 16 of the remodeling project. It was supposed to be done the 24th of April, but due to the COVID-19, we have gone way past that. A lot of the suppliers that we use for like the doors and the cabinets in the kitchen were on furlough, so we were not able to receive a lot of those products. I'm hoping that within this next week, possibly two, I hope not, we'll be able to move from the 4-H building our kitchen staff back to our kitchen. So right now, from all of the grants that we have spent, we received $344,700 CIP match from the county, and then private donors. Right now, we have $22,672 and $32 remaining in those funds. I'm sure that they'll be used with different things, though, like the cabinets and the changes that we've had to make. Okay. Mid-March, we stopped all of our dining room sales, so our numbers are quite a bit down on the dining room. In fact, they're 0 right now. But we do have a lot more frozen and hot meals delivered. We are up 33% just in our Meals on Wheels delivery, which required us to try to recruit a lot more volunteers. We have about 45 new volunteers right now, which is, still it's putting a huge burden on our volunteers. They're delivering anywhere from 15 to 20 meals. Just on Friday, we delivered 495 meals. And that's a lot of meals. I mean, for the weekend, too, the frozens and the hot. So we average right now about 207 hot meals delivered every single day out of the 4-H building. So our numbers have just exploded. And I project if this continues that they're just going to continue to climb and climb.
Before COVID, what was our average daily, or what we were
We were
at?
about 185.
185, so we're up
185. 33%.
10% or so.
With all the frozens and all that, too, we got more.
Okay.
Okay, and then 8,000 in grants and a donation has been awarded to the Commodities for Dry Foods for Meals on Wheels for the seniors that were affected by the COVID-19. We did go out and we did purchase some supplies with the money that we did have, and we used the KU Med students that came into the senior center and helped us divide up all that food. We were able to purchase a lot of that food from our Cisco, which is our food provider for our kitchen. So we had a great deal on that, but yeah, we had 223 deliveries right now, and we're going to do it all again here pretty quick. And the plan, the CDBG, the Community Development Block Grant, I do want to apply for that, and I have already started that grant. I am willing to work with the city on that to get it going, though. I have written one before, but I definitely could use the help, too, so I'll be back in front of you for that resolution. And then our budget update. From January to March, from 2019, we're 12,884 higher in funds, but that's just again through March. That's going to change dramatically this next quarter. And then the expenditures were up 22,322.04. That's about it.
Rosie, on Meals on Wheels, and you mentioned you're serving around 200 a day, or a little more than that. How many per person, the delivery person or volunteer, how many meals do they take each, or about?
They average anywhere from, it could be, sometimes it could be as low as 10, but it's been as high as 20. So, that's a lot
So
to
even
deliver.
if it's 10, that's 20 cars picking up
Exactly.
food.
Yes.
And what I'm driving at is at one time we talked about getting a circle drive over there for specifically for Meals on Wheels pickup, because the parking lot is full all the time anyway. And if everybody comes at basically about the same time to pick the meals up, I assume.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say, we have 19 routes. So when you figure 19 cars there all at the same time, parking behind cars that are parked there for other activities, it's hard.
I guess what I'm trying to say is don't lose sight of that, or asking for that circle drive.
No, believe me, I have not.
We'll see what we can do somewhere along the line to get that addressed, because that is an issue. So are there any other questions from commissioners or comments?
Rosie, if somebody wanted to volunteer what is the time frame that they would have to dedicate per day, and what times is it always lunch? Is it always, I mean, sometimes dinner, or what?
Well, no, it's always at lunch, but we rotate with other volunteers. So the same route has 6 different volunteers, and they rotate it every 6 weeks, so they wouldn't be delivering but every 6 weeks. They pick up meals probably about 10:45 at the 4-H building. And then they're typically, I'm going to say, meals are all delivered by 11:30 to noon.
Very good. Okay, thank you.
Rosie, I assume that you're going to do a dry run over at your new kitchen to make sure
Oh, yeah.
everything's
Yeah.
up and running right.
Oh, yeah. We're not going to do like a grand opening until all this is over with.
I hate to see the fried chicken in the fryer.
It will be that. That will be our grand opening meal. And I'm going to ask all of you to come and help.
Further comments from commissioners?
When in this COVID mess do you look at the senior center to open as far as the dining?
It really depends on the governor right now. We will be the last to open just because we have the most at-risk population. So right now, I would say the 22nd of June, but that's subject to the governor. The health department, Phil, Hannah.
And obviously, social distancing and all the requirements that are going to go along with that are going to be on your shoulders to
Right. Well,
get that taken care of.
we'll bring in Jason, the health department director, and then
Sure.
we'll have to go through everything. I mean, how far apart everyone's going to sit? Are they going to wear a mask? Part of the grant that we did get is a lot of masks, a lot of hand sanitizer, a lot of wipes. So, I mean, we're ready.
Are the volunteers providing their own PPE right now, or is the
Well,
senior center?
I did try to make them. It did not work out well. So we actually did get, right now I have about, 2,000 masks, so we are giving them daily. So a lot of them provide their own mask, but if they don't, we do have them available for them, and gloves.
Any other comments? Not, thank you for the update. We will move to item number 2, North Central Flint Hills Area Agency on Aging, the 2021 budget request with Julie Govert-Walter, Executive Director. And good morning, Julie.
Good morning, Commissioners. It's a pleasure to be here today. My name is Julie Govert-Walter, and I'd like to say I was related directly to Rosie, but no, I'm not. I am with the North Central Flint Hills Area Agency on Aging. Our agency is a regional planning and service provider for 18 counties, including Saline County. And every year we do make a budget request for Saline County's portion of administrative funds, as well as funding for help with the Senior Care Act. And I provided to you today a copy of our fact sheet that focuses on the different services that our agency makes possible here in Saline County. But before I go any further, I want to acknowledge Rosie on her great work here in Saline County. We are pleased to have an ongoing partnership with Rosie and the work with not only the congregate meals, but we do have, thanks to our relationship, we have office space in the Senior Center building. And I also want to acknowledge Kelsey Faunenstill, who is a director of our Long-Term Care Services Program. And she helped put the fact sheet together, as well as doing many, many other things with our agency. So on this fact sheet, you'll see that there's some general population statistics. You'll see that the total county population is 55,606, and this is based in 2010 census. And I also want to say that one of those people who are an older individual, besides yourselves, some of you here in this room, is Nancy Klostermeyer. And I don't want to forget Nancy because she is our member of our board of directors. And she is long time, I will say, just an expert through her work with RSVP, well known here in Saline County. I want to thank her for her volunteerism and her work on behalf of seniors and caregivers here in Saline County. Getting back to the fact sheet, right at 20% of the total population are age 60 plus, and you have about 6%, actually close to 7% of your 60 plus population who are in minority category, and you have about 6% of those people in that 60 plus population who have incomes below the poverty level. So this is based on the best information we can glean from 2010 data, and this, of course, will change with the 2020 census. I do also want to point out that more than a quarter of people 60 plus here in Saline County are living alone, and that, of course, makes a very significant difference in services. The next portion of this fact sheet, our agency has requested dollars, and every year we do this, for administrative funds, as you can see, as well as for help for the Senior Care Act. And this just shows you what was contributed in the last several years and what is still hasn't been acknowledged in terms of our request. I want to say that our agency makes these requests. I just don't wake up one morning and say, oh, let's have Saline County pay this amount of money. It's based on a formula that involves every one of our 18 counties. So we would ask for consideration of the dollars that are still outstanding in terms of our requests in the past. I will also point out that Saline County has probably the highest valuation. The formula for our administrative monies, for example, include county valuation. We take all of our 18 counties and we line them up in terms of the valuation, and Saline County's valuation is one, if not the highest in our 18-county region. So I think you probably already know how fortunate Saline County is in terms of the robust economy that you have in the region and the infrastructure that attracts people from neighboring counties. So I just want to say congratulations on being a very fortunate county compared to many of the other counties in our region. Our estimated impact of the expenditures, economic impact of the expenditures in Saline County, you can see at the bottom of the page. More than, $3 million, right at the bottom of the page. So you can see what that is. The grand total of dollars invested for aging services in Saline County is $704,000, actually close to $705,000. This was based on fiscal year 19, which is the last full fiscal year that our agency has on record for provision of service. And I'm not going to read all the different services, but I'll highlight a couple. We have education and training presentations that we provide through staff. Through our Answers for Older Kansans initiative. It's a series of seminars and trainings. We provide information, referral, and assistance, guiding people to resources here in Saline County or caregivers that are helping people in Saline County. We have a very robust Senior Care Act, also known as SCA program here that I already mentioned to you. We have a relationship with Rosie in terms of congregate and home-delivered meals. This particular program's funds come from in part from the Older Americans Act. The Older Americans Act services are available on a voluntary contribution basis, and so our agency funds the assessment for or is responsible for the assessment of Older Americans Act meals, and Rosie has that portion included in, for the assessments included in her budget. We also have a very robust Older Kansans employment program, which helps people age 55 and older find work in the private sector of your economy. So this has been a long-standing program that's been very successful in Saline County. We also have offices in Manhattan and Emporia for the Older Kansans employment program. I also want to mention that our agency does invest here in Saline County. For more than 25 years, we've provided the Sunflower Fair, formerly known as the Senior Fair. It happens at the Tony's Pizza Event Center annually, and we're very pleased that that event happens in Saline County. I also want to really emphasize that we're so happy to be in Saline County and that and add to the economy here, because we have right at 11 and a half full-time equivalencies that are based here in Saline County. And that is a very important economic part of senior services here in your county. And those employees, most of them live and, of course, work here in your county. I think at this point, well, the third page is just a listing of leaders in the Saline County Aging Network. I've already recognized Nancy. Archie Riggs is another member of our 18-county board. Silverhead Legislature is Anita Alton. And then you see a list of staff that we have here based in Saline County. And on the next pages, this is a little bit of a description of the programs, because I know sometimes we do a lot of very important and very diversified services in our 18-county region, and we are a multidimensional agency, anywhere from, as I mentioned, the congregate and home-delivered meals to housing, Section 8, Section 8 rental assistance housing, as well as tenant-based rental assistance program. So very much focused on seniors, focused on caregivers, and we are the region's local aging and disability resource center, so we work with the disability community in that important role also. Do you have any questions for me at this time?
Through all the paperwork, I'm deciphering, it appears that your budget request for this year is $39,073.
Well, actually, Commissioner, we've revised it down. Isn't that refreshing for you? We revised it to $34,443, and this is because of the agreement that we have with Rosie and the Salina Department on Aging for the assessment part. So we've decided that health insurance is part of the assessors. We did previously ask for some health insurance help, but that's part of the assessor's cost. But I would, again, ask for consideration for the outstanding years that we were not provided funding, because that is a challenge, and it's also, again, a response. I would say it's a commitment that we asked for from counties that previously was overlooked for some various reason, but most particularly because of the transition prior to Rosie's coming on board, but transition in the previous Commission on Aging role.
Is that what this nearly $38,000 is here?
Yes, that's what that is, Commissioner.
Having a little trouble. Commissioner Weiss, you having served on their board over there, and initially on the initial senior board, and then you're the liaison for the county since the county took that over. Can you shed any light on this? Do you know anything about it?
Honestly, I'm not privy to to these past bills and such. I'm looking for the 37,000.
Well, it's in your packet. It's on the,
It's on the front page, right under the population information.
and it goes back, clear back to 2013, is that correct?
Yes,
Well,
Commissioner.
I'm looking at the 62,902.
That's it, well, some of that is due, if you'll look at the dates, obviously October 2019 to September 30th of 2020 belongs to Saline County and this commission. I think, refresh me someone, when we took that over, was that 2018? I think it was in 2018, so I'm looking at 2017, 2016, 2015, 2014, when it was another agency altogether, and they're asking us to pay the 38, that comes up to, I'm just going around numbers, $38,000 for the previous.
I'm seeing that. Are we saying that the FY21 to 12,272, is that included in the 34,443?
Yes, sir.
And the FY20, fiscal year 20, the 12,658.68, that's still outstanding?
Yes, it is. Yes, it
And how
is.
do we,
That check was just in the last AP run. It should have been cut back in January and just got dropped. So once we discovered it, it's proverbially in the mail.
since this commission has been responsible for the senior center, we have met our obligations to the North Central Flint Hills. Okay. But they're asking for monies owed by the defunct.
Correct.
And if I may explain just a little bit, our agency in good faith provided these services and will continue to provide them. And at the time, when we sent out basically statements to the previous Commission on Aging, we had understood that we had understood that they were that county organization. We did not at this time have an invitation or come to the commission and say, hey, we would wish you to pay these. We had understood, but there was a lot of transition and a lot of confusion at different times. And we understand that other groups that were providing services had some of the same troubles. And we're now just basically wanting to get everything square so that we can make sure that we've got the right kind of balance, not only in our books, but in our relationship.
And I appreciate that. When and we have a new administrator, we have a new director. There's a lot of change of faces and such. So the background knowledge that I would need, we had some outstanding debts that this commission stepped up and paid to when they made the senior center part of the county's auspice. And I would have assumed that those bills should have been included when the house cleaning took place then. I don't know how it fell through the cracks or where it fell through the cracks.
And
I appreciate your dilemma.
Obviously, we don't either. I will also say, related to the Senior Care Act, which is the major portion of the $38,000 request, Saline County is the biggest user and has in these years, was in those years, the biggest percentage of Senior Care Act monies that were expended in our total region, something close to between 28 and 25% of Senior Care Act monies were spent in this county. And again, I just want you to know that.
Well, I think this is going to take some further thought and study on our part of the commission, and this, I mean, and your budget request notwithstanding, I mean, this is separate from the budget request, and I think that's going to take some more understanding from the commissioners, response from administrators, and so forth. And, we're responsible. It's going to spend $38,000 worth of county money,
Understand.
taxpayer money that goes back 7-8 years. That was something that Saline County really wasn't responsible for at the time. In good faith, we did pay their bills for them and cleaned up the situation that was created over there. But I'm not ready to cut a check today on this. I mean, I want to think about this a little bit more and go from there. So unless some other commissioners have other questions regarding this right now, I'm not ready to act on this.
I don't think there is a request to act on it today, is there?
It's an invoice that has to be okayed.
It's an informational meeting, Bob.
And I realize that, but this says invoice also. And so that having been said, we've got our information, and I think there's some more information that I need to go forward.
And that's fine. We'll be happy to
Yeah.
answer any questions that
Yeah.
you have.
And we appreciate it. So, all right. I think that's, unless the commissioners have any other further questions. Julie, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And obviously, we'll be in contact. And
Have a wonderful day.
and,
Yes, I'll be happy to
thank
come
you.
back and chat with you further.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, thank you very much. We'll move to item number 3, which is the Salina Media Connection 2021 budget request with Greg Stevens, board member. Good morning, Greg.
Morning. I want to thank you for the invitation. I'm Greg Stevens, board member for Salina Media Connection, and I'm part of the volunteer management team. There's 3 of us, myself and Nancy Klostermeyer, who's sitting back here. She's a great source to have, and Deborah Cox, who also is part of the management team. We have 5 persons on staff and another person on call as kind of a contract employee if we need him to work with us. What I want to do is kind of give you a little bit of an overview, and if you have questions during my talk, stop me, or we could talk at the end. We cover the county commission meetings, county planning and zoning, and the Board of Zoning Appeals. And also we cover USD 305 and several meetings that the city has. If there are more meetings you would like us to cover, we'd be open to that. And I realize that not all of them are held in places that are convenient, but we have upgraded some of our equipment, and I can't speak for Alan back here totally, but we can do live stream from different rooms and sources, sites, if the bandwidth allows for that.
Greg, we do pay a fee for those services, is that not correct?
We haven't charged anything this year for that. You pay a fee for we have a $15,000 fee that, well, you've been making a contribution of $15,000 on an annual basis.
Okay, but I mean, I remember signing to pay per meeting. I thought, yeah, we have a fee that we're charged per televised meeting.
It might have been for those town hall meetings that we did.
You might want to check on that.
Okay. I don't think we're charging for these kind of meetings. I'm pretty sure we're not.
My office assistant back there says we are.
We are?
We
okay.
are.
Well, we better check.
Okay.
A little bit about access. While there are cord cutters around the country, over 60% of consumers are still using cable TV. That number is probably going to go down a little bit. There are 1,500 community access stations across the country. Not all of them are like us. We are a nonprofit. We're kind of unique. We really have something to brag about here in Salina because there are more things that we can do. We're a member of the Alliance for Community Media, which is a trade association for community access stations, so we receive good information from them. We're also, we've had several staff and volunteers that have gone on to media careers. Some of them have stayed in town, started their own business. It's not a real profitable thing, but it is another source of an economic driver for the community that I think there's more potential as time moves on. The media world's been changing. A couple trends that I did some research on is that social media is going to continue to perform well and grow, but video content's still going to dominate. Video content, on whether it's streaming on social media or through television or cable. People like video. It's just different ways that they're getting the video. What we do is we do both internal and external programs. We have staff-produced programs that are in the facility. We have volunteers or agency people that come in, or members, and they can make their programs. And then we have staff that assist people in doing programs. We also do external programs, and we want to do more of those, which are staff-produced programs out in the community. We have stepped that up, but some of the surveys that have been in the past indicate that the community wants more of that kind of a thing, and there's a great opportunity now because of how the news world is changing. And also, one of the things that's happened since the COVID-19 crisis is a lot of agencies are developing their own outreach with media using Zoom or other kinds of programs, and that's a great opportunity, and we've already benefited from, for example, Rolling Hills Zoo. They did a whole series of programs since they were closed where they had the staff kind of talking about the animals. We're going to be playing those on our channel. And there's an arts group that's doing the same thing. We're going to start playing their programs. So they've developed the programs. We're just another outlet for them, which I think is a great benefit. We average about 25 programs a month that we do internally. And the city, county, and USD 305, we have two channels, 20 and 21. The public averages about 25, and the city, county, USD 305 averages about 23 programs. This is since January. Our website visits are about 3,200 visits per month, and we have about 2,200, we have more than 2,200 unique visits per month. We post on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, and all of them have been trending higher over the last several weeks, several months. And one of the reasons for that is we've updated our website. We have a new website, salinatv.com, and we have a new hosting service that has more stability than what we were doing before. Some of the accomplishments over the last year, we're kind of proud of some of this. We've upgraded all of our server equipment, and that's allowed us to stream live to these different sites that I mentioned, and other features that make the channel look better. For example, the bulletin board. We can put video on the bulletin board now. Alan just started that. We have more training to do, but little clips of video can make that a little bit more interesting. We send our signal through Roku. We live stream it through YouTube. The programs that the city, I don't know if this one's live streamed, but Alan live streams most of the programs he does over here.
He's shaking his head, yes.
Yes, through YouTube, yeah. And that's a real stable streaming service, and it's featured on our website in two different places. We can send them to Facebook, we can send them to Twitch, and we're going to be sending them to Apple TV. And we're able to do this because we've upgraded the equipment. And we're hoping that we can, that the company that we're working with their equipment, that they will be able to upgrade and work something out with YouTube, TV, and some of the other streaming services that are becoming popular too. There's there's a lot of them out there. They're not all going to survive, but it's a competitive world over in the streaming side. We're putting the finishing touches on the podcasting room that we've been working on. In the last year, we've applied and received 6 grants. The study session room equipment's all ready to install over here, so hopefully that'll be up and going after we spend a few hours installing that. We're starting a youth advisory board. We've had interns in the last 2 semesters from the high school, and we have a grant now that's going to help support that. And finally, closed captioning. We purchased the equipment for that, and that's installed, and we have, I don't know if it's running today, but we have the capability to do live closed captioning now. We have more training to do it to get everybody's name in there, because it doesn't quite get the names right and a few other things, but it should be state-of-the-art closed captioning that can be used. Some future plans: we need to finish our rebranding. There's confusion between Access TV and Salina Media Connection. Legally, we are still Access TV, and we're DBA as Salina Media Connection. But we have both those logos out there, and that adds some confusion. And that's going to take some time to do, but that's kind of in the planning. More training with the new equipment, and there's always new things coming down the pike. We want to work on scheduling so that we're more consistent and people will know when they can come to our channel and find some things that might be local. And right now we have, I think, some intriguing things periodically. We also bring in some canned programs from the Access TV world. But if we could schedule them in a way that people would know, they could flip over there and see if there's something that they liked from 6 to 8 or 6 to 10 p.m., I think that would be helpful. Marketing is now starting to emerge as something that we need to spend more time working on. We had to get the equipment kind of figured out, and we still have some things we need to work on there. Technology upgrades, policy updates, and those kinds of things. In the last year, we did a program with the Summer Field House Camp over here, and then the 7th graders. We had 700 7th graders that came through the facility as a couple programs that we did. So, also we entered some of our programs in the Midwest Film Fest. We didn't win anything, but that's going to help us start thinking about more quality with our programs. We got really good feedback from them on that, and we'll try to do that again next year. I will check on Commissioner Vidrickson on
Sure.
what we're billing you for. So I talked to the secretary, and I didn't know that. I think we may have, but we've had a budget with the county of $15,000 for a long, long period of time.
And that
we don't
is
want to
the
increase
budget
that.
request that has been approved over past years is $15,000, I think is what it is.
Right.
Is that going to remain consistent
Yes.
with this year?
Yep. And that pretty much concludes that I wanted to share
Okay.
with you.
One correction, the website's .org, not .com.
Okay. Website, salinatv.org.
I will note that I watch those channels pretty regularly, and your coverage and the content and the way it's done and is upgraded immensely in the last year or less than that since your group has taken over the leadership. So it is acknowledged that it's a great asset.
Thank you.
So comments from other commissioners, questions?
I'd just like to thank you when we were having our town halls that you did provide filming of that so that they moved off-site, and we moved them around quite a bit, but we appreciate that.
Thank you. We can do a lot more of that now because of some of the equipment that we have.
Very good. All right, you'll be hearing from us.
I got one more kind of question.
Okay.
We appreciate all the feedback that you can give us on what we could do to improve the schedule and improve the kinds of programs that we're doing. So feel free to send us an email or call us or come on over and visit us and see what we got going. Because we've actually upgraded, made the facility inside look a lot nicer and friendlier because we want people to stop in. It's kind of slowed down over the last couple of months, but maybe it'll improve.
Well, one thing that I've noticed that I really like on your channel is that you do provide a schedule on there now, particularly for City of Salina and Saline County and their agencies, and what time that program's going to come on. I mean, that schedule is on your, consistently. So.
Yeah.
That's,
and Alan needs to be thanked for doing that
well,
because
it's pretty accurate.
He does a lot of that.
So.
We could probably do more with the bulletin board, and Linda helps put things on for you guys, I know, but there's more things we could do to make that work a lot better. So.
Okay, well, hopefully we'll be able to take care of you again this year. So.
You bet.
Thanks for your presentation.
You bet.
We will move to informational item number 4, which is the Saline County Conservation District 2021 budget request with Diana Harden, District Manager. And good morning, Diana. I should say that we haven't said it yet, but we are asking everyone to stay within a 15-minute presentation period.
Okay.
They've done that so far, but we've done that in the previous meeting, so I really do need to let everyone know that. So.
Okay.
So, welcome.
Good morning. As he said, I'm Diana Harden. I'm the District Manager of the Saline County Conservation District. Still pretty new to the position. I started in February, so been here about 3.5 months, and this is all brand new to me, so bear with me if you don't mind. Part of my job is to educate the people of Saline County of all ages about stewardship practices and the wise use of natural resources. As this is my first year, like I said, I haven't had the opportunity to do a lot of the things that I would normally do. So I'm still learning and hoping that next year will be better and we'll get to move forward with everything. Part of the activities that we help with are the Water Festival. I believe that's normally held in January. And then we also do Ag Awareness Days and field activities for school-age kids, kindergarten through 12th grade is where we kind of try to target those area kids to do that for. And then I would also normally help with Envirothon, which is a natural resource competition for high school age students. I believe in years past, Salina South has always sent a team, and last year I think they did rather well, and they were going to go again this year. But with the COVID-19 pandemic and stuff, that was not able to happen. Then I also help with the education of farmers and landowners and ranchers throughout Saline County as well. One way that I do that is I provide available information and administer the state cost share programs, through one of which is a water resource program. This program provides assistance to landowners for the establishment of conservation practices that reduce the soil erosion. They improve and protect water quality, and they enhance water supplies. Another program that I work in is the Non-Point Source Pollution Control Program. We call it NPS in the office. It's way easier to say than say that out all the time. This provides financial assistance to landowners on a cost-share basis for installing practices that reduce against the soil erosion and improve the water quality. One of the practices that this, one of the most common one that I've seen so far that this works with is septic systems, replacing the tanks, replacing laterals in fields that need that have failed or whatever and are harming or could potentially harm the soil and water quality out in Saline County. And then we also do another practice on that is plugging abandoned water wells. The cost share funding is provided by the Division of Conservation through the Kansas Department of Agriculture through appropriation from the Kansas Water Plan Fund. The state aid to conservation districts will match up to $25,000 of the amount allocated by the county commissioners. These funds allow us to maintain our local office, purchase office supplies and equipment, and carry out information and education activities. They provide liaison between landowners and federal, state, and local programs, and they keep landowners advised of conservation problems and solutions and provide technical assistance. This year, the Board of Supervisors is requesting a budget of $21,768, along with the, I believe, is it Oliver Hag Education Funds of $4,500. We, the Conservation District, appreciate you taking the time to review and seriously consider our budget request. Some changes in the district budget from last year. We have 3 full-time employees, myself, the district manager, which my salary is funded through the county as well as state funds. The county funds provide the ability to support my salary and benefits such as capers. And then other expenses include the annual audit and any like membership dues that we pay to a couple things. We have a full-time conservation technician. His salary is supported by state technical assistance funds. He provides technical assistance in the field in order to plan, design, and monitor conservation plans such as terraces and waterways. We have also hired a full-time soil health specialist. His position, I believe, was brand new. He just started in January. His salary is also supported by state technical assistance funds. His job includes working very closely with members of other agencies and associations to facilitate soil health assessment and give assistance for on-the-ground implementation of soil health management systems. And he also remains current on the latest technology related to soil health. We still have 2 no-till drills available to rent for producers in the county. We do charge a small amount to the producers, but we're also providing a vital service to the county in order to introduce and promote the no-till conservation practices and sustaining the, supporting the healthy soil. The drill rental helps cover the expenses for the drill, and our drill manager that we have who delivers and picks up the drill from the producers, so they don't have to come all the way, back and forth on their time. We have somebody that does that for them. The services that we provide are not available through the private sector or other agencies or organizations. With us, like I said, we are able to administer the cost share, and there's, to my knowledge, there's not any other entity or organization that does that sort of thing. Between the Conservation District and NRCS in 2019, we brought a total economic revenue of $413,034 into Saline County through our conservation programs. The biggest one was on the federal level through the NRCS, brought in a total of $384,333.76 for terraces, waterways, critical area planning, irrigation, water management, improvement of soil health and stuff like that. So that was the biggest thing that brought in money to Saline County last year. But we also had, looks like about $29,000 that came in through the state cost share programs as well in 2019. Our Board of Supervisors are made up of Lauren Barrett. He came with me today. He's our chairman. He's been on the board for about a little over 16 years. John Bowden is our vice chairman. He's been on for 17 years. Jason Kern is treasurer, been on for 14 years. Connie Cox-Dorff is a supervisor. She's been on for 15 years. And Tom Holmquist has been on for 7 years. And that is all I have prepared for right now. Do you have any questions?
I do have a question,
Okay.
and it might be a question that I'm asking my fellow commissioners because I don't remember it, but your budget request of $21,768 and then an additional $4,500 for the Oliver Haig Scholarship Fund?
I believe that is what was given last year.
Was that part of the, does anyone remember, is that part of, I don't remember that request coming forward before, but we'll look at that,
Okay,
so.
and I could definitely go through my records and stuff like that at the office.
Yeah,
and
I think
see.
we're the administrator of that scholarship fund, and
Mr. Chair, Philip Smith, Haines County Administrator. Yes, we have provided funding for different groups before from the HAG scholarship. I know we do something for Women in Ag annually and a few other small appropriations. The majority of that funding, of course, does go to support the scholarships for college students in the ag related fields, but there are a couple of small appropriations, and I didn't know how you all approved those in the past, if they were just done administratively, but there has been funding provided.
look into that a little bit. I'd like a little further clarification, if we could, on if we're contributing to someone else and they're just giving the money back there, it seems like extra bookkeeping. In other words, if we're giving soil conservation $4,500 for the Oliver Haig, why don't we just give the $4,500 to Oliver Haig, which we're administering the scholarship fund in the first place? I'm just curious. So, any rate, all right. Any other questions or comments from commissioners? It's obviously a great service for the Saline County and the number of people that you serve and the number of things that are taken care of. So
Right.
As we enter into this budget process, we'll do our very best to give you what you're asking for. So thanks so much.
I appreciate
and welcome
it.
aboard.
Thank you.
All righty. Thank you for coming too, Lauren.
Thank you.
We'll move to item number 5, which is the Salina Chamber of Commerce and Military Affairs 2021 budget request with Mr. Eric Brown, the President and CEO of the Salina Chamber of Commerce. Good morning, Eric.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning again.
How's everyone doing?
Good.
Good.
Good. My name is Eric Brown, President and CEO of the Salina Area Chamber of Commerce. I do want to first say thank you for your leadership and what you're doing right now. I know it's not easy to be in leadership positions like this, and especially during the COVID crisis. So thank you for that, and that's definitely kind of how I started off our request letter to you. Obviously, 2019 and the beginning of 2020 were fantastic years for the economy, and it's kind of hit a wall here in the last couple of months. So really what I do want to do is come before you requesting $35,000 total. And that is the same as we've requested in years previous, $30,000 towards our economic development efforts and $5,000 towards our military affairs council that we house there at the chamber. One of the things I do like to do is just kind of talk a little bit about economic development and where that stands in the community. You'll hear from Mitch very soon with the Salina Community Economic Development Organization. Economic development, there's basically 4 pillars to economic development. There's new business attraction, business expansion and retention, workforce development, and then new business development or startups, those types of entities. And so really we play a big role in 3 out of those 4, and we do a lot of support on the last one, which is new business attraction. So We are very active in all of those portions. We have received from this partnership $35,000 annually, and we currently do not get any type of funding from the City of Salina in regards to economic development, but we do have transient guest tax that does come to us to run the Visit Salina or the Travel and Tourism Hospitality Program, which you all are very familiar with as well. Some of the services that we do provide and have provided previously, we do workforce attraction. Our workforce attraction program is funded by private dollars. We did go out to business and foundations, and that program is called Imagine Salina. To give you a little bit of background what's happening right now, as of April, these numbers just came out from the Kansas Department of Labor. Saline County is at 9.6 unemployment, so that means there's roughly there's 2,943 people unemployed in Saline County. And the reason I bring that up is it's not unique to Salina. It's happening all over the country. So right now, we are seeing a significant uptick in our workforce attraction interest. So we're getting that out via social media. We have a website called Imagine Salina. So that is a way that we are continuing to push the positions that exist here in the community. And so we will continue to do that. We also do targeted recruitment for workforce outside of the online presence, which is Imagine Salina. But this is including separating military personnel, university and college graduates, dislocated, displaced workers, and underemployed individuals. So those are either shows that we go to, career fairs, job fairs, those types of things. We do work quite closely with Fort Riley. They have a couple different programs. One of them being Heroes Make America, and that is a program specifically for manufacturing. And we typically have 1 to 2 of those tours that come over, and those are folks that are separating from the military, and we invite them, and if they have a spouse, at that point to come over and check out Salina. And I know that Commissioner Vidrickson and Commissioner Sparks, you have been to those events for us before as well. So that continues to be a good program, and that also feeds right into our Military Affairs Council. We have, whether it's Lieutenant Colonel Fisher or Vern Hopkins or some of the others on that council, obviously with their military background, they can speak to Salina and from that labor attraction, and they really speak highly of what their experiences are here. So that's another way that Military Affairs is utilized. Some of the other workforce development programs we have are our Trailing Spouse program. We typically use this a lot with our larger employers, where they have someone that's coming in for an interview, and they may have a trailing significant other, and we take them out and show them a community and ask questions, and they typically ask questions that they wouldn't to a potential employer. So that continues to be a good program. Our School to Career Internship and Job Shadow program with 305, I think we're on I would have to look, I think it's year 24 or 25 with that. And that's just a program we use to make sure that we are getting kids from career and technical ed pathways or just interest pathways at the school district into our opportunities that exist in Saline County and in Salina. We also have the Project Open, and that's really 2 pieces, business education. So last year we had over 60 individuals take those classes, and then also a revolving loan fund, what we partner with Network Kansas on out of Wichita. Last year we loaned a total of $174,000 to businesses to get started here in the community. We also do a lot of data support for new business attraction, data support related to housing developers, and also provide data support and communication around early childhood education and child care. That continues to be a very hot topic right now and in years previously, so that is something that we monitor heavily. In addition, some of the other things that we do around economic development, there's small business training seminars, support of the Bulk Solids Innovation Center. It's one of 4 in the world, and that center is research and development with K-State Polytechnic, and it serves several of the industry here in town, whether it's Vortex, Purion Catron, excuse me. So those are things that we do around that. And then we also co-host the Economic Outlook Conference. So those are just a small piece of what we do on a daily basis to serve businesses here in the community that way. And then as far as Military Affairs Council, the big support piece of that is labor attraction, number one, but also serving those folks that may be veterans that live in this community and raising funds specifically for that. So the Military Affairs, they do a lot of fundraising, whether it's through their poker run, they have a golf tournament, and they also have a Commanders Club, and those dollars are emergency dollars that go back to whether it's veterans or whether it's active duty folks that need some help. So that's one of the biggest pieces that the Military Affairs Council does. So like that, like I've said before, right now with what's happening in the economy with COVID, right now it's hopefully, as it's phasing, it seems to be a little more activity out there, but we are definitely not out of the woods. And next year again will be positive, but at the same time there's some hill to climb there for most businesses in this community. So with that, I would like to formally request $35,000, $30,000 for economic development efforts, and then $5,000 again for the Military Affairs Council. And I'll stand for any questions you may have.
Questions from commissioners? Thank you, Mr. Brown, for taking the time to come over and visit with us. And obviously, we're in our budget season, and we'll take this all under advisement, and we'll let you know shortly.
Yep, we appreciate the
what
partnership.
we're going to be doing. All right, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Thank you, Eric.
We'll move to item number 6, Salina Community Economic Development Organization Incorporated for their 2021 budget request with Mr. Mitch Robinson, Executive Director. Good morning, Mitch.
Good morning. I think this is the largest meeting I've been in to actually see people, so it's kind of nice for a change.
We're really opened up around
seeing
here.
a computer screen. So thank you all for the opportunity to come today. When your county administrator and I talked about this, and we talked about, well, what do we want to talk about? And obviously, you all know what we do, but to recap, we are now in the 5th. Yes, this is the 5th year of the establishment of the Salina Community Economic Development Organization. It's hard to believe that I've been here. We'll be 4 years, I think that's right, 4 years in December. So as you all know, the organization was created, city, county, airport authority, Chamber of Commerce, and created with a series of 3-year contracts. So we're, this upcoming year will be the 2nd year of the 2nd contract. So during that time, we have kept the request to the county the same over each year. That's $20,000. The city number has varied a little bit. They have recently made a request of us to drop our number back 10% due to the budget issues that they're faced due to the COVID-19 crisis. The airport authority has changed theirs just a little bit over the time, and that'll be seeing some changes, I'm sure, when we get back. You all were provided 2 pages of information. One was a budget page, and then one was kind of really an overview of the past year. Some of the highlights, of course, being the One Vision Aviation coming out to Big Bertha hangar at the Airport Authority. Everything can kind of really come up to about a January, February date, and then at that point we need to stop and say post-COVID, pre-COVID. So obviously we all know the changes that's gone on since the virus has impacted the world. I started to say the country, but really the world. But overall, from what we do, the attraction process has not really changed that much, other than the meeting activity. We've not having face-to-face meetings, and it has changed, slowed a little bit on the decision-making of some of the companies we've been talking to. We've had two large projects that you all are all aware of. Those have slid back, unfortunately, due to the decision discussions within those companies. They're still very positive. At this point, I can't say that. We're looking forward to some future final decisions, but in a closed session, I'd be more than happy to give you all updates. That's not, for this environment right now. But overall, we have had a sizable increase in aviation-related projects, even with the unfortunate activities in Wichita with some of the aviation companies down there. We are starting to see a little bit of an increase on companies that are seeking either manned operations or unmanned. As you all know, K-State Polytechnic is a real selling point for us, something we've been focusing in on really since day one with promotion of the UAVs, the drones, and we're continuing to work with them. We have a couple projects right now that are drone related that are trying to get established here in Salina, so we're kind of excited about that. Eric talked about kind of the different the pillars of economic development. Being in this business 30 plus years, it's kind of evolved into what is considered, what is not considered, and I would agree with him. And in the entrepreneurship that we partner with the chamber on here. So we do the attraction, the chamber does the existing business, they do the workforce development, which has been very critical. We went from below a 3% unemployment rate to now we're over 9%, so that's quite a bit of a difference. And then the item that we partner with is on our entrepreneurship activities. One of your commissioners has been taking part in our efforts called Startup Salina. That's our monthly program that we have had until February, a monthly gathering. Bring in people that are interested in starting businesses. That is being held, was being held, and will again be held at the Temple in their co-working space that's in the basement. And we feel really positive about the progress we've made. And a lot of what we've done since February has gone to more of a, like Greg was talking about earlier, more of an online promotion of either through SBA, Small Business Administration, or through Senior Corps of Retired Executives, SCORE. They both have got a huge amount of online video, webinars, different services that help people who are thinking about starting a business go through that process. So those are the attraction, entrepreneurship are really the two biggest pieces. Our sheet kind of explains the year we've had in 19, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you all have and talk about where we see the rest of 2020 going and 2021.
Well, I don't have any questions. I do have a comment that I recognize the difficulty that your organization faces as far as you're in the eyes of the community, what you are or are not doing, because so much of your work has to be done in executive session so that you don't let the cat out of the bag, so to speak, with what competitors to these organizations might think, who's coming to town, who's not, and what have you. So, at any rate, my comment is that thank you for your efforts, and there's proof in the pudding here when you look at One Vision and some places like that, and I know that there's some other pretty good-sized ones that are potentially on the drawing board until this hit the fan, so to speak. So
it's definitely changed things a bit, but
for sure.
I would like to comment on your discussion about the confidentiality. That is something that really has changed in the last I mean, it's always been a factor. You have to keep quiet what you're working on. But nowadays, there's often a legal document, an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, that the companies are requesting you to sign. So there can be both civil, and I guess I don't think there'd be criminal, but there could be civil, there definitely would be civil penalties if you violate the agreement. So it's something we're very particular to make sure that we live up to those agreements. So that's unfortunate, but it is a part of what we're doing now.
Other commissioners wish to comment or say anything? Questions? If not, thank you, Mitch. Appreciate you coming. Thank you, Eric.
Have a great day.
You bet. We will move to item number 7, which is the county administrator's update with Mr. Philip Smith-Haynes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. County Administrator Philip Smith-Haynes. There are 2 items that I wanted to discuss this morning, and I think I'll handle the easier one first, tagging on to the presentations that you just heard. We will be having a budget meeting tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. over at the Visit Salina Annex to go over those budget requests from departments as well as outside agencies in a little bit more detail.
And it's my understanding that is an open meeting that
yes, of course, all meetings with the 5 of you are open to the public.
And adhering to the social guidance rules that we're bound by.
We will be setting that up this afternoon to make sure that we have 6-foot spacing and a maximum of 15 people in any one space. We believe we can accommodate maybe 2 groups of 15 if we do it correctly. For my much longer update, last week on, well, I guess it would have been Friday morning, the legislature wrapped up their 2020 legislative session. Sine die, which is the ceremonial finish, typically in most years, ceremonial finish of the legislative session, was scheduled for Thursday. Became a little bit more than ceremonial this year. That session lasted 23 hours and 58 minutes, wrapping up at 7:58 a.m. on Friday morning. The legislature took a number of different actions. It is not clear, first of all, that some of those actions were permissible under the Constitution because the session was supposed to wrap up on the 21st. They did not take action on many bills until after midnight, which was the 22nd. So that's one interesting wrinkle. But some of the things that they did do, we have been following throughout the legislative session, Senate Bill 294, which then became substitute for House Bill 2118 and ultimately passed last Friday in the middle of the night as the conference committee report on House Bill 2702. This legislation would end the tax lid that applies to city and county governments in Kansas effective January 1st of 2021, which is a good thing. However, in place of the tax lid, it puts into place a model based on loosely based on a model out of the state of Utah, which is intended to ensure transparency for taxpayers about property tax bills, but has some interesting wrinkles to it. There was an effort to get that delayed by a year in order to help us sort out some of those wrinkles. That did not occur. So remains to be seen what the governor will do with that piece of legislation, but that may be the format that we're living under for adoption of the 2022 budget next year. Other actions, the other big one, the other marquee item, in addition to the SB 294 and associated stuff that was included in HB 2702, the other big one was the Conference Committee report on House Bill 2246, which was with regard to the COVID-19 emergency and amendments to the Kansas Emergency Management Act and changing the powers of the governor and potentially giving some powers to county commissions around modifying gubernatorial executive orders at the local level. So those were sort of the two biggies, but did not want to get lost in the shuffle a couple of other actions. The legislature also passed what was, before last Thursday, the substitute for House Bill 2018 regarding wireless carriers and restricting some local control over wireless carriers, and also House Bill 2510, which dealt with the sale of some land by K-State Polytechnic out by the Salina Airport, which is important to one of those economic projects that Mitch was just talking about. So that's probably the good news out of all of the somewhat not so good news from the legislative session. After the legislature wrapped up on Friday morning, the governor had her regularly scheduled press conference Friday afternoon, and I will say she kind of came out swinging. She made some comments about the way the legislature had conducted itself during the marathon session. She did not make any specific veto threats, so again, it remains to be seen what she'll do with any of the bills that the legislature passed. But she did state that all options were on the table, and the last time she said that at a press conference, it ended up with a Zoom hearing of the Kansas Supreme Court. So we shall see what is in store. Even though the legislature is adjourned, I don't think we've heard the end of this. So I really liked the first paragraph of the legislative update that the Kansas Association of Counties put out on Friday. How do you summarize a legislative session that began with a bipartisan agreement for Medicaid expansion that never went anywhere, and a bid to amend the Constitution that also failed, was paused for a day to celebrate a Super Bowl win, then interrupted by a global health crisis before finally concluding in a one-day whirlwind? And how do you summarize that one-day whirlwind when it lasts for nearly a full 24-hour day? End quote. So that's our legislative update, and I'd be happy to try and field any questions.
Questions from commissioners? Hearing none, we'll move to item number 8, commissioners' comments. Anyone have anything?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
The building authority met on Thursday morning, the same room, first time in eternity, and we had a quorum plus a couple folks calling in, and the informational item was on tobacco-free campus. And the building authority next month will consider it and have more discussion on it. The meantime, I found out on Thursday that the library has their tobacco-free campus language all ready to go, and they're going to implement it on June 1. So, again, the building authority hasn't met, so evidently we haven't been apprised of this information. So I think it'd be advantageous that next week on the agenda, if we invested a little bit of time and discussed it as a county board and how this could possibly affect our surrounding county properties, and a lot of unknowns, kind of like a ripple effect. So I know we're up to here in the budgetary process, but I'd like to invest a little bit of time and maybe get a little direction from the board.
All right, thank you. I appreciate the update on that. That's something I hadn't heard of either, and it's the trend, so to speak, so.
Exactly.
All right, anything else from anyone?
One more, Mr. Chair. We've got a lease agreement pending with the city, and I know it's in council's hand, and hopefully next week we could at least get another shot at the draft and what's been changed and altered, and maybe invest a little time to look at it and discuss it.
Has our reproposal been proposed to the city? That we the last meeting we...
County councilor has communicated with the city attorney on the points, and so I will talk to county councilor today and see where we are with that and the potential for having that on for next Tuesday.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I would take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and second that we adjourn today's meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned. Thank you for watching. Stay safe.
You too.